I know that most of us have been busy for years with education, sports, work, and so on, as if we had a clear picture of the purpose for our lives. But how many of us could sit down and, in say 50 or 100 words, set that purpose or those purposes out clearly? Have you done so in a way that accurately describes you and what you're here for? This is the Practicing Christian. This week's report is on the purpose of my life. The other day, I heard someone on the radio quote the Dalai Lama. The purpose of life is to be happy. Close quote. I was curious at first about which Lama. After all, there have been dozens, if not hundreds, of Dalai Lamas over the centuries. Did they all agree with this one? Then I thought of a song from a couple of decades ago, a ditty really. Don't worry, be happy. All the while I had remembered a statement on this subject from Martin Luther, though it had been written in a variety of ways. The purpose of life is to love God and enjoy Him forever. Many of God's children have had some problems with this reply. Obey? Yes. Be good? Yes. Serve Him? Yes. Work hard? Yes. But enjoy? That seems to be too light. Not serious, not purposeful at all. Yet if we look at Deuteronomy 6, the first obligation of a man is for us to love God. Love. With all our heart and soul and mind and strength. Jesus reinforces this, telling his men that this is truly the first commandment. Nothing is more basic for a man and for his sons and daughters than this, to be a lover for God. This never means just being happy about what other people do or accepting what they do regardless, as being godly. It means everything from teaching a child how to swim, to sharing your salary with a friend, or a brother who's lost his job, to helping a friend build a new bed frame for himself and his wife. Love is a considered and purposeful action on our part and which we follow through on that helps another to be the person God desires him to be. When we engage in such loving of others, we don't get giggles out of it or a cheap thrill, but we will enjoy what we've done forever. Out of our love for God and for His creation. Don't overthink this process. You may want to show your love in a given way, but then realize that it could take 10 hours every week. Go ahead anyway. Maybe you can do what needs doing in 2 or 3 hours a week, or some friends will come along to help, or you find that after 3 weeks the need for your input drops sharply. Never pass up an opportunity for loving action that can be adjusted as you go along. Don't overcome loving action by complicating it. All good things have extras and frills and details. Let them emerge as they will. I remember reading some years ago of a man in Ohio who was a successful businessman and who had developed a new, small electronic device. He kept working at it over and over. 3 years later, it was just the way he wanted it, exactly. But by then, others had developed similar devices and had entered the market and run away with it. Finally, you may never get to do this loving act. Don't worry about it. Next week, I'll share with you an example of my own that has not and may not in the next few decades get off the ground. It's okay. I may be someone who will have planted the seed, the idea in another man or woman who will bring it to fruition. So don't worry, be happy with the opportunities for loving acts that God has and will continue to set before you. Serve then, be the king's right arm,